Hey gang, welcome back to Marriage Therapy Radio and the next installment of So I Married a Relationship Expert, which is a not so subtle nod at So I Married an Axe Murderer, one of my favorite movies to quote. I watched it again over the weekend and forgot all about Phil Hartman, who, by the way, is a comic genius that we lost too soon. But he's the Alcatraz guard, and he says, "My name is Ron Johnson, but most people call me Vicky." And then he gives Charlie and Paul the tour through Alcatraz, which is astounding. If you haven't seen that movie in a while, or if you've never seen it, I would encourage you to check it out. It's delight, easy to watch, fun to quote. Yeah, I'm into it. This episode, we are talking to Emily Nagoski and her partner, Richard Stevens. I would say that no one has affected my work around sex and sexuality more than Emily. What she has written, and if you watch her on TED Talks, just really reframes what sex and sexuality ought to be, in particular for women and for men who are in relationships with those women. Her partner, Richard, is a stand-up guy. I've enjoyed getting to know him. You will too. It's refreshing to hear him talk because unlike the partners that have been featured on the podcast so far, he is not a relationship expert. He's just a regular guy who is trying to make his relationship work in the best way that he knows how. It's really fun to hear them describe it here. I think you will enjoy it. Again, if you are looking for insights and input into how to think in fresh and new ways, I can recommend Emily's books. I really enjoyed talking to them. Laura and I learned a lot, and just generally we're pleased to get their perspective. I think you will be too. This is a very cool conversation. Stick around. Emily is the first person that we've had back, although we're working on a different little project, which is I wanted to tell you about because now you're both here. It's almost like a series that we're building, and it's called So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Mm-hmm. You actually did?
Not supposed to talk about that.
In this case, it's So I Married a Sex Researcher, which is why, Rich, you're like on the hot seat. Yeah. But we're collecting a bunch of interviews. We have a whole bunch of people kind of lined up, and eventually we're going to turn it into something exciting. But we're really just excited just to kind of talk to you both and let you riff on what it's like to be you guys. Does that sound cool?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can riff. You just might need to edit some of it. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'll get started, but I do want to know, like, how long have you been together? And we will definitely talk about also some really important stuff from the book, but we also want to get to know the two of you as your relationship unfolds. You just met. Congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going pretty well so far.
Yeah, I'm recovering from my head injury. Limerence. So.
No, we met in August of 2011.
Okay. How did you meet?
August 2nd.
Very good.
We met on the internet. OKCupid, back before it was an app, when it was just a website.
Yeah. In fact, you just wrote a newsletter about that last week.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
So what were you doing back in 2011? Like, paint the picture of who you were as people in 2011. And how did you what was your profile like?
Things have changed so much in the world of online dating since then. And also, like, I have blacked a lot of it out because I was not a person who enjoyed dating.
So mostly you were just
I had been at Smith College as the wellness education director for about 3 years. I had been single for about 5 years and really liked it. But I was getting to the point where, like, okay, it's been a while. I do not want to, like, die alone, eaten by my dog, and have the neighbors call the police because of the smell.
Good.
So having someone that I lived with was a good idea. And I was like, but I can't find anyone. And my therapist was like, Emily, you're not really doing everything you can to meet someone. And I was like, but I am. And she's like, but you're not.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at OKCupid at the time, published research on effective strategies and tactics for using the website. And I followed their evidence, which meant that I would make myself invisible, and then I would look at profiles. And if there was someone I wanted to message me, then I made myself visible and I looked at their profile. And if they saw that I had looked at their profile and they went and looked at my profile and they were interested, I could let them message me.
Okay.
And
yeah, I kind of learned all this recently. Yeah. I felt
because he was just like using it like a regular person.
Regular-ish.
So we he messaged me because that's how the game works. We messaged on the app on the website for a while. And one day I had just gotten home from work and I was hungry and I didn't feel like making dinner. He said, "I'll come bring you some pierogies." And I was like, okay. So my dog, Green
really
Bean,
set up a pattern here too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of you not wanting to go out and get dinner and me
and
being
you
happy
bringing
to
it
go
to
do an
me.
errand. Yeah.
So my dog, Green Bean, I had adopted in January, and he had been at the shelter for 4 or 5 years because he was aggressive toward men.
Wow.
Right on.
And I had done a lot of rehabilitation with him, and he was in a much better mental state. But, the people who got to the point of getting into my apartment, a lot of the times Green Bean would just like pace and pant the entire time there was somebody else in the apartment. So I met Rich outside my apartment building with Green Bean, my 70-pound Hound Lab mix. And I brought him upstairs to my apartment, and Rich sat down on the couch, and Green Bean laid down at his feet. And I went,
"Oh, litmus
Okay.
test.
That's
You
that."
pass."
Yeah, I'm apparently a victim of circumstance in all of this.
No, Green Bean always did like you.
Do we still have Green Bean?
Green Bean died in 2018.
Okay.
Quite
Okay.
old.
Very old.
Quite old.
Yes, having lived a wonderful life.
Yeah, having had a yard to himself with a brother
Yeah.
for
Aw.
6 years at that point.
Yeah.
We literally got married and bought a house.
So that we could have a yard with Green Bean.
We wanted
There
to
you
buy
go.
a house
Perfect.
because renting was terrible to have a dog.
To have
Yeah.
a dog and our 3 cats.
And she refused to buy a house with me without getting married because I
he
didn't
had
have
no health insurance. He was self-employed.
So
Okay.
it all worked out.
Yeah. So we didn't get married with like stars in our eyes. I mean, I was like super in love and everything, but also like the marriage part was because of pragmatics of owning a home.
I could have very happily just dated for 10 years.
Right.
But I really wanted to live with the dog.
Oh,
And-
man.
And
The-
the dog, Green Bean really liked you and not just the pierogies we discovered,
No.
right?
Oh, he was wonderful.
Yeah.
Rich had rubbed pierogi on his ankles at the bottom of his pants just to make sure. You guys, this may change our relationship forever, but I'm anti-dog. Like, I don't do dogs. Like, it's just not
It's
my
true.
thing.
I'm
But
sorry, I have to go.
Yeah.
But I did have this thought yesterday. Every once in a while, when I'm agitated by something, I start to imagine having a dog. And I did it yesterday. I started to imagine having a dog, and I decided that if I get a dog, 100% that dog's name will be Fido.
Okay.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, we
I do
don't know what
crosswords.
type of dog.
No, I do crosswords a lot, and one of the clues is always, this is a popular dog name, but almost no dogs are named this.
Yeah, it's a shorthand
decided-
for a dog name.
Yeah.
As opposed to a dog name. Yeah.
There you go.
Not
Interesting.
Dogworth or anything like that.
One day maybe I will have a dog named Fido, if I have a dog named Fido. So wait, Rich,
When
what was
you-
your version of that? What were you doing when you were like in 2011?
I was just a rando who worked alone making comics and mailing packages on the internet, and I was just looking around to date. I was just not even predatory or coming up with strategic
No
ways
strategy.
to get people to look at me. I was just talking to people.
You hadn't
who I
read the
thought were
research
interesting.
about how to leverage OKCupid.
Right.
I mean, I did look you up.
Was it embarrassing to meet online in 2011? Like right now, it's a no-brainer. Everybody's like, nope, that's what we met. And there's 20 different apps. But did you have to cross a threshold
No,
emotionally or practically to do that?
No.
not even
No.
slightly.
It made sense for my life to be dating online, and everybody, like, if you met me and I was like, I'm dating online, you'd be like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost every friendship, relationship, and work relationship I had going
Except
back
for
to
the
about
internet.
the 90s was online. Yeah.
And
Wow.
My oldest
It
friends. everything.
actually turned out we knew people in common,
Really? Who?
Josh and Cassie.
Oh, right. Okay.
But we would never have met in real life because I don't like going places.
Somebody she knew from high school
Yeah.
was married to a friend of some of my oldest friends who I've been to parties with but didn't know.
And it just so happened that they lived like in the next town over.
Wow.
Weird.
Okay.
Okay, wait.
So you guys,
yeah,
we
wait,
talk over each other all the time. We're like a married couple,
but I do
want
want to get this part. You, Emily, had this experience of watching Green Bean lay down at Rich's feet. Rich, what was your green light? Like, how did you know? What was the moment that you were like, oh yeah, this person is different than all the other randos that I'd been dating?
I don't know. I don't have a moment like that. I just didn't have to do a lot of fake
Have you had
things
it
that
yet?
I didn't enjoy.
Presumably you've had it since
Yeah.
then.
Yes, absolutely. But I don't have like a little snapshot in my head of the moment. Yeah.
It wasn't health insurance was the green light. You're like, you're
no,
my person.
I would have happily just walked in front of a car at that point. It would have been fine.
It's great.
It would have been fine.
Okay, so you met in 2011.
We married a year later.
You married a year later.
Yeah.
When would you say, like, were you doing sex research at the time? Were you telling stories? Like, and I say tell stories, but were you teaching and educating? Was that
Yes.
a part of who you were?
Yeah, I worked at Smith. I was the director of wellness education, which included being a lecturer, teaching a class called Women's Sexuality.
Cool.
And I was writing a blog at the time called The Dirty Normal.
Awesome.
And you had some ebooks.
Yeah.
So what was that like when you learned, when you're like, so what do you do? What lights you up? What interests you? And Emily's like, I'm so glad you asked. I have a lot to say on the matter. What is that like as a partner, or maybe like even just dating and getting
What
to
is that
know
like?
her? Yeah.
I really like experts. I've always enjoyed hanging out with and or dating people who are really good at something. And it was just refreshing that it was something that I had absolutely no aptitude for. Science. You know what I mean? Like,
Not the
Not
sex part,
sex.
science part.
but I mean, like, it was different because
No aptitude for science. Definitely science.
Yeah. I mean, I spent a lot of basically 2000 to 2010 doing cartoons on the internet, knowing people through that, and most of the people being vastly technically superior.
Yeah.
And to be around people who do different things like you, but are also clearly really good at it, I just find that stimulating. I like to separate things. You know,
What does
I
it
like to
mean?
That is
I
really-
did cartoons on the internet.
posted
Yeah.
comic strips onto web pages and sold things,
Okay.
and was briefly in the newspapers too, which was terrible.
Oh, if you,
Yeah.
okay, if the two of you did not have your expertise in what they are currently in, what would you do otherwise?
I think I'm doing it.
Plants.
What are you doing? Oh, I would do plants.
I'm mostly like reading contracts and doing email and managing things and learning how to save money.
Oh
It's
my
weird. I was
gosh.
actually telling somebody yesterday, I was reading a release form for a podcast and I was scratching things out and I was like, I should have gone to law school, not art school.
Yeah.
Because this is more fun.
Oh, you enjoy that? Because you just
Oh, God,
described
yeah.
that and it was like, that sounds disgusting to me.
Well, I have my own values for it though. Like every page of your release form, I'm less and less interested in giving you anything.
Huh.
So like if you need a release form to begin with, I'm like a little...
That's already.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, so thank you for this homework is really where I'm going through. So if you're going to give me a lot of homework, I'm going to be real meticulous.
Okay.
So
What
yeah,
would you
not
do?
Very wonderful personality, I know.
I probably would have become an English professor.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have like being an educator is in your blood. That's interested. That is like,
that was
through and
always
through.
going to be. Yeah. Reading books and teaching are two things that I cannot stop doing.
okay.
I taught college for a few years and was not for me.
Yeah. It's not for everybody.
Wow. And you
I did
stuck
art
with it for
school.
a few years.
Yeah, because it was fun. It was just doing stand up, really. You know, it was
It's true.
a graphic design class, and it was a lot of just getting people to do their homework, walking them through their assignments, and then trying to get them to critique each other's stuff in a positive way. So it was, yeah,
Interesting.
weird job.
I had
Yeah,
always
no
assumed
kidding.
that I would end up with someone who also went to grad school, probably someone who also went to grad school for science.
Uh-huh.
And I married somebody who went to art school.
Oh, and
Hmm.
even better, they took away 3 of my credits in the last semester.
So he didn't technically graduate.
I was second in my program. I didn't graduate, and the same guy who denied me my diploma asked me to come teach.
Oh, that's rich.
So I've still never
That's
gotten
special.
those last 3 credits just to prove a point.
Yeah. That's
I love
good.
that. I know somebody like that. And, you know, these days too, you don't have to like, I have a 17-year-old, 21-year-old, and of course I want them to get their education. But anymore, you don't have to have an education to be good at something or to lean into that thing and learn how to master it, you know?
Hey gang, I hope you're enjoying this conversation. I wanted to take a quick minute to invite you to the first ever Relational Life Therapy Conference that'll be taking place this April 2025 in Orlando, Florida. The conference is primarily for clinicians, It's an opportunity to connect with like-minded peers, to deepen your skills, grow your network, and really just sort of hang out with the leaders and thinkers who have been shaping RLT over the last few years. Terry will be there, and so will Belinda. Carol Gilligan will be there. The entire RLT faculty will be there, some of my heroes. I will be there with Rebecca. We're going to spend at least one day in the parks, but I'll also be leading a breakout session, so a little bit of a shameless plug for myself. Overall, it's going to be a good time to come and reconnect with yourself, reconnect with others, learn more about how the theories and practices of RLT impact your client work. It's a great time just to be with other people. We won't be doing this over the internet or over screens. The theme of this year's conference is Living Love, Transforming Ourselves and Our World. It's an opportunity to embrace intimacy, not just as a tool in our work, but as a way of living in true connection with ourselves and others. The conference is a multi-day, live, in-person event with Terry and the faculty and others to help us rebuild and nurture connection in a world that right now feels like anything but compassionate. So I would love to see you there. I hope that you will take a minute to check it out. It's April 25th to 27th in Orlando, Florida. I have it on good authority that there are plenty of conference tickets remaining, but room in the hotel where the conference is taking place is running out. So now is the time to get your ticket and book a room in the conference center where we're all going to be, so that we can bump into each other in the halls and hang out with each other in the restaurants and maybe even take a dip in the hot tub or something. I'm a big fan of the hot tub, but mostly so it's an opportunity for you to get close and personal with Terry and the faculty, get some renewal for you and for your practice, and also just be a part of the first ever RLT conference, April 25th to 27th in Orlando, Florida. You can find out more by going to relationallife.com and clicking on the information for the first ever RLT practitioner conference. If you can't find it, shoot me an email, info@marriagetherapyradio.com. I'll be happy to send you a link or make sure that you have that information. And now, back to our conversation.
Okay, so we get this question a lot, which I remember sitting down, it was a Halloween party, people were not sober, and they came up to me and they're like, you guys don't really have the best relationship, do you? This is all a show, just because you're a couples therapist. So I think the assumption is that as a couples therapist, we're going to have the best relationship, or if we're out in public, we're going to show like we have the best relationship. Mm-hmm. You know, people are probably assuming that you guys have like, you know, chandelier sex, that you're hanging off of the chandelier. Sure. And that, right? Like this, the assumption has to be there.
The assumption absolutely is that. Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. And
you did actually just buy kind of a chandelier.
You mean the
ceiling fan? Yeah. Which is weird.
Did you check? Were you like, I'm going to need somebody to install this and make sure that he can
hold
hang
400
from it.
pounds.
That's right.
Yeah. And the origin story of Come Together is that writing Come As You Are was very bad for our sex life because I was so overwhelmed and exhausted. And again, we got married in 2012. I started writing that book in 2013. Yeah. So it was like we were still newlyweds. And
you don't seem to do anything halfway. So if you just sit down to write a book, that's kind of what's happening.
That's like what's happening. And so I tell the story in the book, and I have heard from a lot of people, especially from a lot of other sex educators and sex therapists, how grateful they are for that transparency, for normalizing that, like, just because you like are intellectually an expert and you like know all the things, that doesn't mean your body is always 100% ready and on board.
Yeah.
Like we struggle. We also live in like a late capitalist cis heteropatriarchy that interferes with our access to pleasure. And our lives are not always organized in a way that makes it easy for us to overcome those barriers.
Yeah, somebody just called me brave last week.
Really?
For being in that article with you.
Yeah. Brave.
I was brave. I felt so brave.
Yeah. Did you ever have the assumption that by partnering with Emily that you were going to have the most amazing sex of your entire life? That she was going to touch all of your pleasure zones and that she was going to be super in touch with her own? I'm just kind of curious, like, was that an assumption that you had?
I did not make that assumption. No.
That's pretty amazing.
I mean, it's just people. People have specialties, but that doesn't mean that they
that's
are
exactly
the stereotype. Yeah.
That's exactly it. That's actually what I was thinking about in this series. Like, So I Married an Axe Murderer or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like people have these labels
You're a couples therapist. You're a TV star. You're an athlete. You're a sex researcher. But we're all
You do
just
all that?
people.
All those.
Yeah.
But we're all just people, right? We're all just trying to make it work. So let me ask you that question. Like, how do you guys make it work? Like, what's the secret, if you have one?
Secret sauce
Do you have a
of
secret?
just
Which
a
thing?
healthy relationship.
The
The sex
relationship.
thing or the relationship thing?
Either one.
Yeah.
But I mean, how do you guys make the relationship work? You clearly are fond of each other. I'm wondering how do you
This has
describe
actually
it?
been a topic of conversation because I have been asked so much about like sex and long-term relationships because of the books. And the message of the book is really clearly you have to like each other, like be really good friends who admire and trust each other. And it turns out that is more controversial advice, in particular for heterosexual type relationships, than I ever expected. People truly have a conception that sexual attraction is like not mutually compatible with friendship. Like you either want a person or like a person. You can't like a person and want them.
Interesting.
And
Yeah, I think
like-
Esther Perel, she says you can't desire what you already have.
right, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is true. That is the nature of desire. It is a form of dissatisfaction.
But yeah, you have a whole thing on desire not being the issue.
Yeah, desire is not when you talk to y'all have talked to Peggy Kleinplatz. She is one of my favorite brains alive on earth. She has interviewed dozens of people who self-identify as having extraordinary sex lives, and when she asks them like what makes sex extraordinary, they don't talk about desire. They talk about authenticity and vulnerability and pleasure and empathy. Empathy is the meta factor in amazing sex. They just don't talk about desire. Desire barely scrapes in at number 10 in the like
Interesting.
characteristics that some people describe as being a part of optimal sexual experiences.
Yeah.
People who have great sex talk about pleasure, not desire. And pleasure is all about what you have right now in the moment, savoring, enjoying, deepening pleasure and connection, understanding how to create a context that makes it easier for your brain to experience pleasure, to interpret any sensation as pleasurable.
Yeah.
And the reason you need to be friends is because you have to collaborate to make that context, to be able to explain to your partner, here are the aspects of our current context that are hitting my brakes and making it impossible. So for me, perimenopause has been a big challenge with my sexual functioning. And also I have long COVID, which basically just insert the phrase chronic fatigue syndrome or myalgic encephalomyelitis.
And both of those things are wrecking your sleep on top of that.
They're wrecking my sleep. They're like, my health has been a problem. And fixing my health is like, I have to get up to a baseline before I can get to the sex part.
Right.
And of course, Writing Come Together did the same thing to my sex life that Writing Come As You Are did.
Awesome.
But the best thing I can say is that, so I get done with Writing Come Together, I have long COVID and a perimenopausal, but we are following my own advice. I wrote a 100,000 word book on how to fix the problem I just created.
How to fix the problem.
And it's like, it works. It helps so much.
I just like not being the problem. It's great.
Yeah. You're 100% super not the problem. But I feel like even though like my body is the one that's like blah, like I'm not the problem either.
No,
like,
the problem is a little third guy
this,
in the middle.
Situation is this like
That's
that
right.
we're in, and we're collaborating as a team to fix the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we are both motivated. We know that our sexual connection matters. Like it contributes something important for our relationship, and we both want to get there. And we know that there's this like we just got to like hack our way through the stuff so we can. And the most important thing is that so you might have noticed he's quite silly. I have a slight tendency to take myself and the world very seriously, and especially early on when my interest in sex was gone because I was so stressed out, I would like beat the shit out of myself for not being able to solve this problem. Because like I'm an expert and I should be able to. I was having very shitty days.
Shitty.
And
That's a good term.
when I learned to laugh at it the way he could laugh at it, it was so much easier. Because now we can talk about it when things are going badly, and we don't feel bad. We can laugh about the badly way that things are going.
That was actually my question, was when you're experiencing something that feels pretty darn internal, right? Like perimenopause or chronic fatigue, how do you get over the hump or shame or the shoulds to be able to communicate to your partner, who's supposed to be your collaborative partner? How do you get to the place where not everybody has a partner that is as lovely as you, Rich, where you're full of like humor and fun and playfulness? But like, how would you share with our listeners of, okay, so I'm supposed to collaborate, I'm supposed to share what's going on with me, but I also am like steeped in shame and disappointment in myself.
How do you do that? You're the
I
one
know.
who was having the shoulds.
So it's not that
The shouldsies.
I'm going to give a general answer to start with. The basic difficulties that people struggle with in communicating about sex are either they're worried that if they say a thing that they want or like, their partner's going to respond with like horror and disgust, and they'll never be able to look at them the same way again. Or they're worried that their partner is going to hear what they say and take it personally, like they're going to have their feelings hurt. And the goal with the conversation is to invite greater closeness and like collaboration, problem solving. And so I recommend that people have the conversation about the conversation, talk about why they're not talking about it. Like, talk about like, our sex life is in this way. We're maybe both feeling like it could be different if only we could figure out how, and we're not talking about it. And let me just tell you a couple of the reasons why I'm not talking about it. Like, because I am beating the crap out of myself for the way I feel. And I think if you struggle to say to your partner, I am experiencing a lot of like, I mean, from my point of view, it is internalized ableism. My sense that I should be able to be well enough to have the energy for frequent chandelier sex. And the reality is I don't. And I need to embrace my body as it is because my body still deserves pleasure. And like whatever pleasure I have access to in this body that I have now is a gift and is going to help me heal, in fact. So I think like another sort of a deeper barrier that people have to these conversations is we live in a world that literally punishes us for pursuing pleasure for its own sake instead of being productive. And so a lot of us don't feel like it's a worthwhile task because it's effortful to have these conversations. And what's the point? The point is like to go through this effort so that we can share pleasure together. And it has to matter to you, that pleasure, to be worth the effort of having the conversation.
Yeah.
It's I think you're touching on one of my favorite parts of the new book, which is, and I've been using this with my clients a lot, it's this idea of when people don't want sex, what don't they want?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're talking about right now?
It wasn't as far as I'm in my brain, but tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, like, I don't want to feel, it's not that I don't want you or I don't want sex. It's I don't want to grapple with all of these, let's call it shame or internalized ableism or whatever it is, like, and teasing those things out is challenging for a couple sometimes because they have these really binary or kind of like singular thoughts of, well, if you don't want sex, that means you don't want me.
Right.
And having that conversation that you're inviting sort of says, no, when you say you don't want it, what is it that you're saying you don't want?
Yeah. I see now why I wasn't making the connection. It's because for me, it's not that I didn't want sex. I do. And like
you clearly have sex that's worth wanting, right?
Yeah, that's one of the... So there's sort of like two default couples I use as an example. There's the couple where when they go into therapy, partner A says, I used to be really into the sex, but the thing is I'd be perfectly fine if we never had sex again.
Yep.
And those are couples who, when Peggy Kleinplatz is their therapist, she says, well, tell me about this sex you don't want. And the sex they describe is not sex worth having. Like, it is not sex that is a better use of their time than watching reruns of Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic show, by the way.
Themselves.
Right, exactly. Like,
let alone watching 30 Rock.
Versus couples like us where like we would come in and we didn't go to therapy, but like as a couple, I'd be like, I want to, I just can't get there. I know that if we could get there, it would be really be fun, pleasurable, connected, loving, I like all the good things. And I just like, I can't. And so for the first kind of couple, they need to find out what kind of sex is worth having, like what pleasure actually looks like when they share it. And folks like us need the emotional floor plan, which like that for me was the answer of like truly understanding, oh, you're excited about that.
Oh my gosh,
So
it's the other thing that I really wanted to ask you about today, which is like, okay, and
it's the other thing people are afraid to look at and do.
They are.
Yeah.
Tell me, Rich, tell me about the emotional floor plan.
What do you want me to tell you about it?
All the
what do you know?
things.
How do you understand it? How do you understand it? Because I think this is the most fascinating part of the new book is, and I would love to hear what you think.
I think he should be able to answer the question because the illustrations of floor plans, Rich did those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I mean, I mostly was just drawing what you put in front of me, but the part that I loved about it was that you put the silly play next to the other good stuff.
Yeah.
And I felt quite vindicated in that because I'm kind of either most days I would like to be in the silly play.
Right.
And the silly play leads to the other good stuff.
Yes.
And seeing you put that next to each other in your floor plan just is very validating. And it showed you changed.
Yes.
It showed that maybe you may be the expert in this, but you observed me. And whether I was a lab rat or a fellow participant in the study or whatever, but you picked something up and grew on your own. And I love that.
Yeah. Remember how I said I take myself too seriously?
Yeah, you've been influenced. You allowed yourself to be influenced by your partner.
Yes, I'm open to influence.
But what was pretty cool about that is I had a huge block against wanting to draw because, dial back 20 minutes in this conversation to being around extremely good artists and not being one.
Yeah.
And you assigning that to me and I had to problem solve it and work through it was kind of like building a floor plan except for drawing.
Yeah. Which
Which is weird. I got some pleasure out of doing the drawing after being really mad that you wanted me to do it. And now I'm actually kind of enjoy doing that. It's weird.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a secret that when you understand your emotional floor plan, it actually impacts a whole lot of domains of your life, not just your sex life.
Yeah.
It's just a sex book, though. It's
Yeah.
It's just fun to visualize things
but-
next to each other.
Okay, so Laura and I, we know what you're talking about in terms of the floor plan, but just for the layperson, and let's have the layperson describe it. Rich, what is it? What is this theory that Emily
If I'm understanding it correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's people deciding where things like their lust and their play and their shame and their anger are in relation to one another using the metaphor of like a house. Because we understand how houses work.
Yeah.
You understand how apartments work. You know that the toilet is, next to the tub and that the electricity is in the basement.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know.
And our emotions work the same way.
Right. Exactly. See, you're trained. I am not in this.
Yeah.
You are very good at explaining.
So there are,
these things.
so I use Jaak Panksepp's model of 7 primary process emotions. It's 2024 and we do not have one unified theory of human emotion. There are at least 3 major competing theories. I chose the one that includes sex.
I didn't know there was one.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
that sounds
that's why I'm
reasonable.
using the one that I'm using. And in order to make the neuroscience of these 7 primary process emotions useful, I applied this metaphor of the floor plan that you have these 7 emotional states that you can be in. And some of these states, it is easy to transition from one into the other. Like it is very easy to transition from a care state, which is attachment, love, affection, into a play state. Play is the mammalian motivational system of friendship, where you engage in behaviors for their own sake because everyone likes it and there is nothing at stake. These are 2 fairly similar states. It's easy to transition from care state to a play state, from play state to a care state. It is not, and from a play or care state into the lust state. And then though these are what I call the pleasure favorable spaces. The last one is seeking, and I can talk about that in a minute. It's curiosity. And then there are the pleasure adverse spaces, which are fear, rage, and panic grief. So fear and rage are very straightforward. It's fight or flight, right?
Yeah. Sure.
The mammalian motivation to destroy something that's in your way is rage. And the mammalian motivation to escape a potential threat, that's fear. My advice from responsive desire, the advice I was trying to follow when things were falling apart, was responsive desire. You put your body in the bed, you let your skin touch your partner's skin, and your body goes, oh, right, I like this. I like this person. And that's when you're in a state that's like right next to lust. Your body gets the stimulation, is like, let's go to the lust space. But I was in the fear space. I was like bouncing around like anxiety and worry and stress. So what would happen for me is I put my body on the bed, I would let my skin touch my partner's skin, and my body would go, oh, I'm with my favorite person. I'm safe now. I can move out of the fear state. And so I would cry and fall asleep.
Boner time.
So yeah, it's not the sexiest thing to have happen. And the thing is, there is no pathway directly from the fear space into the lust space. There just isn't one.
And even if there was, that doesn't sound great.
So instead of like getting in the bed, letting my skin touch my partner and going, oh, sex, my body would be like, oh, I'm safe. And I would cry and I'd get out of the fear space. But then where am I? Well, then I'm just straight up physically worn out, exhausted. I need a nap, probably a snack, and a bath.
I have been trying to convince you this whole time that the 8th primary emotion is hungry. If we did mine, it would just be hungry, hungry, hungry. Like,
and it's like my belly is full, then the
lust.
sex space is available, the intimacy space is available.
Hungry, hungry.
So
annoyed.
It was essential for me to recognize that the reason I was struggling to get into the lust space is because I was in a space in my mind that had no doorway into lust. So how do I get from here into a space that has a doorway into lust?
But is it right to say that you were getting closer, but you couldn't make that whole leap?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my process, like if I'm really stressed out, my process is, okay, get out of the fear space, then take care of my body, then get into either a seeking space or a play state, and then I can get into a lust state. So like, if people are like, it shouldn't be so difficult, it shouldn't seek so much effort to get to desire. Yeah, it does. Yes, neurologically, of course it takes deliberate effort. If your life is, I don't know, stressful at all, it will probably require some deliberate effort to get into a state where it's easy for your brain to interpret sensations as sexy.
I'm aware that as you're talking a lot about you and what you needed to do and how you needed to get there. How much responsibility or collaboration is required with your partner? How can Rich take you into different spaces? Does he, or does he wait? Like how do you guys navigate that together?
Collaboration is absolutely essential. The extent to which it's collaborative is going to vary from situation to situation. But notice that it was when my skin touched his that my body would go, I'm safe now. So it's like inherently collaborative. My body was taking this social cue as evidence that I could relax.
Yeah. But also, it's super helpful that you made the floor plans and you came up with the technology. I guess thought technology is that term. Because if I could see how a person could take, let's get in bed and have sex. Oh, wait, I'm crying. I could see how somebody might take that the wrong way.
Yeah. That was one of the wonderful things is that like he did not take it personally. He didn't even go like, oh man. He wasn't like disappointed.
Make it worse.
Yeah. No, it was so like kind and patient and generous. And
no, but my point is like if you draw it out for people and you show people these things and that there's, maybe if there's a path.
Yeah.
Maybe people can take it less personally. I think the biggest problem people have is taking it personally.
Yeah. And like I could show you the path and you wouldn't be like, well, why can't you just get from here? Like they're just make a door from fear to lust.
Yeah, get a saw.
Yeah. No, and like, no, you just got to work with my brain the way it is.
Right.
And when you show people the map, the floor plan, you're like, here is the way. I am showing you the way to get to the thing. If the thing that you want is for us to have sex, I am literally showing you the way. I'm mapping it out for you.
Goddamn Candyland. Or
get
steps.
To play. How do we get to play?
Yeah.
And a lot of the experience that people have. So I am, my brain is different from other people's. I'm literally autistic. I'm neurodivergent. For me, care, the attachment system, doesn't have a direct path into lust. For a lot of people, it really does. The feeling of like being cared for, the sort of like cuddling on the couch in front of the fire, feeling really like held and attended to. That's like really close to lust and it's easy to get there. But care can also be the experience of like caring for, doing the laundry and doing the dishes and making the dinners and earning the money and like providing and making sure everybody's safe and having all their needs met.
Speaking my lust language, baby. Yes.
But if you're the one who's responsible for doing all those things, and your partner is one of the people you have to meet all of their needs, and they are not reciprocating, there's not a balance of energy, you can get caught in what I call the kitchen of care.
Sure.
Where you're just like doing all this work and your partner's like hanging out in the lust room and is like, hey, baby, come meet me in the lust room.
Once you've done my dishes.
Right. And it's useful to have the language of like, I am stuck in this like taking care of everything mode and I cannot get directly from the kitchen into the bedroom. So I need help. Like, come take care of some of these things. And not only like pragmatically will more things get done faster, but also I will feel cared for because you have noticed what we need in our shared household and you have met those needs spontaneously without me having to yell.
It's funny as you're talking, I'm like, oh, I know, you know who is kind of like this? It's, you know who you should talk to is Sarah Nasserzada. Like, she has a lot of the same. I was like, actually, no, it was you guys that introduced me to her. So but it's this whole,
Sarah's
it's the same kind of model.
And my book are like, hers is the relationship to my book, sex book, and mine is the sex book to her. They go together amazingly well.
They come together.
Yes, they do.
Get it?
That was an amazing bit of timing, too. Like, you read the early copy of that as you were doing your final copy edit of Come Together. And you were able to slip it right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. She wrote that at exactly the right time.
Yeah.
Okay. So if people have read Come As You Are, if they've read Burnout, why are they going to, or what are they going to get from this book that might be different than the first two that you've written?
Oh, it's like 90% different from the other things. So the emotional floor plan is brand new.
It's first time
it's
I've
actually
heard of it
like
yet.
I tried to shoehorn it into Come As You Are, but Come As You Are was already too long. So this is science I have been waiting to share. So I'm really excited. It takes me 2 chapters. It's a big idea.
Awesome.
All of the stuff about managing change in a relationship is new and different. The way I approach gender is different and I think more practical than in either of the other books.
Awesome.
So there's a whole lot of new stuff and it's really specifically, whereas Come As You Are is very much about like an individual being able to like think about their own sexuality. This is very much about like a couple collaborating regardless of your relationship structure, regardless of the gender combination or anybody's identities. Like, how do we work together to make a sexual connection that will sustain over the long term?
It's actually
I love that.
really amazing, too, how hard you fought to get singular they into Come As You Are. And then to be, do the revision and then to come do the new book. And it's not even majority heterosexual.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me. It's like almost a map of progress in a way that you were allowed to write.
Yeah. That I get. The book is as inclusive as I could possibly make it, except for one chapter where I specifically address people in heterosexual type relationships because the research has been so consistent for a couple of decades now that people who are in non-heterosexual type relationships have like higher quality sex, they have more orgasms, their sex lasts longer, they kiss more, they have more oral sex and more manual sex, more sex play, they're more likely to kiss and say I love you. So and yet heterosexuals have more frequent sex.
Yeah.
That they like less. So I am worried about the straights.
I'm worried about the straights.
Boy, more of something that's less good.
Yeah. More of something that's less good.
I think this is in Come As You Are. Come As You Are. But is that whole bit that you were just saying about the sort of the what do you call them? You don't call them non-straights, but like, is that they actually
LGBTQIA2+.
Okay. They have spent a lot more time actually talking about their own sexuality or thinking about it or working it out more than the heterosexuals have, because I'm heterosexual. We just have these assumptions built into this is how sex is. And these folks who are not having those assumptions, they have to work those assumptions out. They have to like actually think about them. And by the time they get to an actual other person, they're practiced in some of these spaces of conversation and exploration in ways that I never was, for sure.
Well, I mean, if you were the default culturally. You don't think about things.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
why
Yeah.
whenever a white man doesn't get a job, he blames somebody as opposed
Yeah.
to just,
I want to oversimplify it, and I give examples of ways that queer couples can struggle with this too, because subcultures often recapitulate the dominant culture. So there can be ways that patriarchy manifests in LGBTQIA2+ groups and relationships and individuals. But yeah, when you are cis and or straight, it feels as if the myth that you've absorbed of what sex is supposed to be is attainable. Whereas if you are not that, then you already know that you have fallen short, quote unquote, of the cultural ideal and have to invent something that is real for you.
Wow.
that just sounds more
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because you
Well, it sounds
said
more
this twice
sustainable
now.
too. Yeah.
LGBTQIA, LGBT
2+.
Yes. What is the 2? That's the first time I've heard 2 in
Two-spirit.
there.
Two-spirit.
2-spirit. We're bringing it back. I mean, we haven't used that language for a long time, but that's neat.
In Canada, they
Okay.
actually start with the 2.
Really?
They
Yeah.
do. All right.
So,
All right.
okay, we're going to run out of time here, but I want to ask you guys a couple
We
more
are, yeah.
questions. What do you guys do for fun? You watch Parks and Rec, you watch 30 Rock. What's your jam?
We
You
watch,
eat, you dine in.
We do dine in.
I retrieve things. That's my hobby.
Yes.
Rich loves errands.
I do love it.
We have 2 dogs. We watch them play in the yard. There is a YouTuber called Steve1989 who eats MREs from different time periods and different nations. And that is
He will
bafflingly entertaining.
He will disassemble a World War I breakfast and try to eat it, and get sick very rarely. And it's
Very
wonderful.
rarely.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know what we're going to be binge watching together this weekend, Zach.
And,
It's not for
1989.
everyone. I'm not recommending it.
It's funny. Like, I've kind of given up on television, except when you watch old BBC mysteries.
Yeah, I have gotten him into both Poirot and Agatha Christie
There you
Marple
go.
mysteries.
I'm Poirot pilled. Yeah, I just love them.
Okay. All right.
He's a
And
fussy
Emily, you
little
said
guy.
there's 2 things you can't stop doing. One is, what are the 2 things you can't stop doing? One is reading things.
Reading and teaching.
Yeah.
So what are you reading? What are you reading right now?
Currently, I have gone back to some research that was originally published in 2010 that I used in both Come As You Are and in Burnout, and has become relevant again as I talk to people about Come Together, which is basically the idea is that pleasure is a cue in your brain that you can now stop paying attention to something because it's not a problem anymore, to free up your attention to go focus on solving some other problem. One of the things people have, one of the big ideas, then the challenging ideas in the book, is that desire is beside the point. Like, because people who have great sex don't talk about desire. Pleasure is the center. Pleasure is the measure. And people struggle with it. And I was like, wow. I was like, what makes it so difficult? And I think part of it is that it takes deliberate, intentional training and effort to learn how to keep your attention on pleasure. Because our brains would sort of innately want us to be like, oh, that felt good, and now I can move on. Move on to fixing some
Interesting.
problem.
People
Yeah.
do love fixing problems, though. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
and as you said that was the first thing I thought of, was how much we focus on the negative, how much we focus on, like, our critical brain is constantly seeking and searching to find things that need fixing. So that makes so much sense. Who did this research, the 2010 research on pleasure?
Charles Carver, the guy who developed the discrepancy reducing increasing feedback loop, which I call the little monitor in Come As You Are, and the monitor in Burnout. I love this research. I love the discrepancy reducing feedback loop. It explains so much. It's also closely linked with Dan Wegner's research on the ironic process. So the ironic process is this, the problem that the harder you try to do something, the more difficult it becomes. Don't think about a white bear.
Right.
Okay, but I thought about an elephant.
Of course you did.
Okay.
Even in physical tasks, like if you're just holding a weight over a target on a string, just hold the weight still. The more you feel like you have to hold the weight still, the more the weight moves.
Okay.
And it's because there are 2 channels. There's the channel that's doing the task, and the channel that's monitoring the task. And the more you're monitoring, the more resources are being pulled away from your ability to do the task.
Yes.
So if that sounds like struggling with orgasm, that is also what that is.
I was just thinking about the worry and concern about sexual functioning, that the more you become concerned, the less you're able to function, right?
Yeah, erectile dysfunction has a similar, like, if you put a spotlight on a penis and are like, get an erection, get an erection,
Don't
get an
forget
erection.
an erection.
Like, yeah. Yeah, but then if you're like, whatever you do, don't get an erection.
Uh-huh.
You're not allowed
Yeah.
to have an erection. Like, we're going to do these sensations, but don't get an erection.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Right.
That's right.
Basically, the blood flow was like, okay. Because inherent in the phrase, don't get an erection, is get an erection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Sometimes
I've
when I'm
got
trying to
this.
finish an interview, I ask a question that's a throwaway question because I'm hoping I'll get a throwaway answer. But then you had to go and like blow my mind again. I thought
Yeah,
you were
a
going to
little
say,
You
"Oh, I
asked what
like
I
to
was
read."
reading.
And then you
I
just
thought you were going to say, "I like reading mystery novels. I'm reading Little Agatha Christie, some Jodi Picoult, and like I'm just trying to figure out how to get through my days."
I do read romance novels.
Yeah, good for you.
I can give you a much
Oh, here's my throwaway. I am watching a lot of Dimension 20 on Dropout TV, which is live Dungeons and Dragons role playing.
All right,
And it's
that sounds interesting.
incredibly comfortable and fun to watch.
Do you guys play Dungeons and Dragons?
I have never played Dungeons and
I
Dragons.
did as a kid.
Okay.
And
Oh.
Emily is now interested in it. I have not seen any of these shows because they're just on your phone.
Yeah. Just watch
Got
it.
it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I do have a
Um,
couple that said that Dungeons and Dragons changed their relationship because it
Oh, yeah.
entered
Oh,
into
wild.
the play, and they
Yes!
said that it was a
Yes!
game changer. I know.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay, but here's
know.
what I want to do. I think what we should do is we should start our own little game that we play when we figure out how to organize our schedules well enough. But you had a throwaway there, Rich. What was your throwaway answer?
I was going to say, I have been obsessed with reading old Nancy comic strips. Just the old
Nancy.
Nancy. the
That's not
real-
Kathy.
Nancy and
Kathy.
Sluggo.
Okay.
No.
The
I
little
know
girl
Nancy and
with the
Sluggo.
little hobo friend.
It's too deep a cut.
Oh,
And they're just so, they don't make any sense, and I love them. They're so almost symbols, right? That they're not even people. It's
Yeah.
just beautiful. It's so
Oh.
simplistic, and I've just been obsessed with finding scans of the old artwork too,
Yeah.
and seeing how they did all that manually. So while you've been
I love
watching people play role playing games, I've been reading Nancy and Sluggo.
Yeah. You guys have been alone together, side by side.
Yeah.
Parallel
Yep.
play.
It
Yeah.
works really well for neurodivergent people.
Well, it works very well for me. I love to do a little solo play next to my
Mhm.
partner.
maybe
That's
you're
what she said.
neurodivergent, Laura.
Well, we're still trying to figure out a lot of things that happened. We've been dancing around this. Do I have ADHD? We don't know. I never finish my sentences, so it's mysteries out. Okay, we have to land this plane because we have 10 a.m. clients on this end, and
Rock
we've
on.
taken lots of your time, double the time, because both of you showed up for this interview, which we just so appreciate. It's made it a lot of fun for us.
I'm glad to talk to you both. I'm glad that you were able to, and that you were brave enough to come on the podcast with
Oh,
us.
you're so,
So brave.
brave. So brave.
I think this is only
So-
the second thing I've done.
I think
Where
that's
do
true.
Yeah.
where do we send people though? Like, do you have anything interesting that you want them to go to buy, to like know about?
Apart from the books,
Clearly, they should go Come Together wherever
Yeah,
books are
totally.
sold.
yeah, I am particularly proud of the audiobook for this one.
That's true.
I make silly voices, and Amelia, my sister, wrote silly music for it,
Yeah.
and I really
Fun.
we
You
put a lot
made-
of work into it.
You made the producers cry.
I made the producer cry so hard he had to turn off his mic.
That's no joke, you guys out there in listener land. Like when I recommend Come As You Are, I almost 100% of the time recommend the audiobook because of
Love
how delightful you are in your reading. And so I will look forward to the audiobook of Come Together for sure.
Yeah.
And then also, not my work, but just a thing I think is going to change the world the more people read it. The Nap Bishop at the Nap Ministry, at the Nap Bishop on social media. Trisha Hersey's book is called Rest is Resistance. Her work changed my work irrevocably and vastly for the better.
She's
Are you saying
almost
nap?
got me.
Like take a nap?
The nap,
NAP?
like take a nap, like lay your ass down.
Yeah.
The Nap
Yeah.
Bishop.
The nap, yeah. So the Nap
All right.
Bishop is about rest as the ultimate act of anti-capitalist, anti-racist action.
Love it.
All right.
See, I'm glad I asked.
I only occasionally feel bad I'm not working until midnight now, thanks to you.
Baby
And
steps.
you're
Well-
also open to influence. That's amazing.
Yes, we have learned a lot from each other.
Well, you have a lot to
Well, we
teach.
really appreciate you guys. I'm so glad that we were able to make it
Same.
work. Okay, that's Emily Nagoski and her partner Richard Stevens. They are a delight, as I'm sure you just experienced. Again, I have learned a ton from her work, and I think that if you are interested in expanding your understanding of sex and sexuality, then you ought to check out her books or her TED Talks. And thanks again for listening to Marriage Therapy Radio. Thanks for hanging in there for our series called So I Married a Relationship Expert. We have a lot of very cool interviews coming up that I think you'll enjoy, and I'm excited to share them with you in the weeks and months to come. For now, I'll say goodbye, and I'll catch you later.